All right, we are going to go over equations. Okay, this is intro to equations. In order to fully understand equations, you must go over expressions first, because the definition for an equation, write that down, is two expressions that are made equal to each other. Two expressions that are made equal to each other. An equation is two expressions that are made equal to each other. An equation is two expressions that are made equal to each other. So then we have to know what an expression is. We have to then know what an expression is. Okay, there are two types of expressions. Okay, again, an equation is two expressions that are made equal to each other. So now we need to know what an expression is. And we've seen expressions a gazillion times, but maybe we don't know what the definition or what the two types are. The first type of expression is a numerical expression. A numerical expression is a combination of numbers, operations, and variables. Numbers, operations, and variables. I'm sorry, numbers and operations. Lord Jesus. It's just a combination of numbers and operations. Guys, don't worry. If you can't get into week 7, just go ahead and take the notes. Don't worry about it right now. Let's just take the notes for right now, and then I'll get you logged into week 7 here in a minute. Okay? Numerical expressions, combination of numbers and operations. That's it. Numbers and operations. So it's a combination of just numbers and operations. What does that look like, Miss Reyes? That looks like this. It can be very short. 5 plus 2. That's a numerical expression. It can be a little longer. 6 to the second power plus 8 parentheses 2. Okay? Which is multiplying by 2. It can be even longer than that. It can be 5 plus 7 parentheses 8 plus 11 times 2 raised to the 11th power. So, in short, a numerical expression is a combination of numbers and operations. Operations meaning addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Those are your 4 basic operations. So, an equation is basically 2 expressions. There are 2 types of expressions, one being a numerical expression, which is a combination of numbers and operations. The second type of an expression is an algebraic expression. It's an algebraic expression. That's the second type. Remember that our lessons will be recorded and I post them on today's agenda. Okay, I post them on today's agenda. So each day you'll see teacher model video and you just click on that and that'll be the video for that day. All right. An algebraic expression is a combination of numbers, operations, and variables now. Numbers, operations. Remember, your four basic operations are addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, and variables. So your numerical expression just has numbers and operations. Your algebraic expressions have numbers, operations, and variables. So algebraic, algebra, alphabet. Your algebraic expression is a combination of numbers, operations, and variables. Examples. Examples of an algebraic expression looks like this. You can have very simplistic. You can say 3x. Very simple. Algebraic expression is multiplying 3 times x. It can be a little longer. You can say 5 plus 4x minus 10. And of course, it can be a little longer than that. 8n plus 7p minus 18, parentheses, a plus b. Okay, it can be a lot longer. These are all examples of algebraic expressions because they have variables. Okay, numbers, operations, and variables. The only thing that's different from a numerical expression and an algebraic expression is that an algebraic expression has variables. Any questions? All right. So examples of what an equation looks like. All right, here are some examples. Slide this up a little bit so you can see the whole thing. You have, let me write one over here, one that's very simplistic that you've seen. X plus 2 is equal to 7. This is an expression. It's an algebraic expression. And this, even though it's one number over here by itself, is also considered as an expression. We have two expressions that are made equal to each other. Over here, this is an algebraic. I'm going to abbreviate. And over here, this is a numerical. I'm going to abbreviate. But you have two expressions that are made equal to each other. This is an equation. It's a one-step equation, but it's still an equation. You may have longer equations. 8n plus 3 is equal to 28. This is an expression. It's an algebraic expression because it has a variable. This, even though it's one number over here by itself, is also considered as an expression. Two expressions that are made equal to each other are considered equations. And I can make this one a little bit longer. I can put a plus 2n on this side. We can have variables on both sides. Okay, this then is an algebraic expression. This is now an algebraic expression as well. And I can abbreviate algebraic. Any questions so far? Now we're going to write steps as to how to solve equations. We're going to write some steps as to how to solve equations. Okay, if you need to take a picture of this, please do so at this time. Okay. Solving equations, steps. I'm going to write steps to solving equations. All right. Your very first step is to evaluate distributive property. If there is distributive property in the problem, you need to do it first. Your second step is to combine like terms on each side of the equal sign separately. Combine like terms on each side of the equal sign. And you want to do that separately. The third step is to move the variables to the same side. If you have variables on both sides, you need to move the variables to the same side. And you add or subtract to move them. The last step, number 4, isolate the variable. Get the variable by itself or isolate the variable by using inverse operations. Okay? All right. I'm going to do this example. 2x plus 1 equals 9. Okay? This is a two-step equation. Questions, babe, before I start? I'm sorry. Okay. It's take a picture of it. Go ahead and take your picture. And I'm going to post this video on my page. I'm going to post this video on my page so you'll have it. Okay? All right. Oh, sorry. I'm going to use the steps to solve this equation. The first step is distributive property. I notice that I do not have distributive property in this problem, so I skip step 1. Combine like terms on each side of the equal sign separately. So I'll look at this side of the equal sign. I can't combine these terms because they're not alike, and there's nothing to combine over here. So I skip step 2. The third step is to move the variables to the same side. I don't have variables on both sides of the equation. I only have it on this side. So skip step 3. The last and final step is to isolate the variable to get x by itself. In order to get this x by itself, I have to get rid of the 2 and the 1. I get rid of all numbers that I can add or subtract to get rid of first. So since this is a plus 1, I'm going to get rid of it by subtracting 1 on both sides. So I want to get rid of it first. When I subtract 1 over here, 1 minus 1 gives me 0. And I'm left with 2x. So I'm going to bring down the 2x. I'm going to bring down my equal sign. And on this side, I have 9 minus 1. 9 minus 1 is 8. To get x by itself, now I have to get rid of this 2. The operation that's automatically between 2 and x is multiplication. The inverse of multiplication is division. So to get rid of the 2 that's connected by multiplication, I divide both sides by 2. 2 goes into 2 one time, so that gives me 1x or just x. 8 divided by 2 gives me 4. So my answer here is x is equal to 4.